It often begins with a tingle in your throat, or a single sneeze, followed by a headache, drowsiness, a runny nose, and nagging cough. It's official. No matter how quickly you chug that glass of orange juice or lather on excessive amounts of hand sanitizer, you've caught a virus. Now the question is it the constantly mutating influenza virus known as the flu, or is it one of the 200 strains of the common cold? Because yes, there is a difference.
Influenza tends to be an illness that has a sudden onset, more likely to cause a high fever, with aches and pains and runny nose.
In other words, when you've been hit by the flu, you'll know. The influenza virus is responsible for some of the deadliest pandemics in history, including the Spanish flu in 1918, which spread across the US, Europe, and Asia and affected a third of the global population, killing up to 50 million people worldwide, 8 million in Spain alone. In fact, more soldiers in World War I died from the flu than the actual battle. But the pandemic flu is a completely different beast. Let's just focus on the seasonal flu and the common cold. While both attack your respiratory tract, the cold tends to stay up in the nose and sinus area, whereas the flu can enter deep into the lungs and cause complications, especially for young children, people over 65, pregnant women, and individuals with long-term medical conditions and weaker immune systems. Cold symptoms are much milder and more common, hence common cold. And the most common of common colds, the rhinovirus. On average, adults get 2 to 3 colds a year. It's one of the leading causes of missed days of work and costs close to $25 billion annually in lost productivity in the US. Unlike the flu, which has a specific season between October and May in the Northern Hemisphere, the cold can hit at any time of the year, but is also more common in the winter months. But contrary to popular belief, you can't actually catch a cold in the cold. You're more likely to catch one here, inside a closed space where viruses are constantly circulating. The reason we get sick more in the winter is simply because we herd together indoors, the windows are shut, and we're more likely to breathe the same air as someone who already has a virus. Whether it be a cold or a flu, the way the virus enters your body is the same. Take this scenario for example. John Doe is sitting on the bus while battling a viral infection, and here comes the sneeze. Before he has time to cover his mouth, projectile containing nearly 40,000 tiny virus-filled droplets are expelled into the air. Those particles can fly up to 2 meters, making anyone nearby a target, including unsuspecting Jane. The pathogen enters the lining of Jane's respiratory tract and uses its protein spikes like a key to enter a cell, hijacks the nucleus, and begins replicating even more viruses. Symptoms usually start within 1 to 3 days after being exposed to the virus. Those first 3 days of coughing and fatigue are when you are the most contagious to others. By now, Jane already spread her germs to her partner at home, and they've both taken their viruses to work, contaminating different surfaces, which then spread to their coworkers. And that's one of the fastest ways we spread germs.
It can survive on surfaces for at least up to a day and on skin for an hour. So you might shake hands with someone or touch a doorknob, and then afterwards if you touch your eyes or your mouth, then that's one way of infecting yourself.
On average, humans touch their face 3 to 5 times every minute without even realizing it. Most of the time, your body is strong enough to fight off infection pretty quickly.
We have antibodies that are created that will neutralize the virus in the nasal passages. And when that happens, eventually after a few days, the virus becomes inactivated, neutralized, and then the body can heal.
Generally, colds clear up within a week to 10 days, but the post-viral nagging cough can linger for weeks till it eventually resolves on its own. In the meantime, another cold virus could be lurking just around the corner. Influenza could last up to 3 weeks. The virus spreads rapidly, causing your body to respond more aggressively. One of the biggest differences between the cold and the flu is that the flu usually comes with a fever, and symptoms like that have less to do with the actual virus and more to do with the immune response. Over-the-counter medications like acetaminophen and ibuprofen can help control those symptoms. Antibiotics, on the other hand, treat bacteria, infections like bacterial pneumonia and strep throat. It will not help you when you have the flu or cold and will in fact do more harm than good. So what can you do to protect yourself from getting sick? Your immune system's great memory will in part help you with that. Every time a virus is destroyed, B and T cells remember that particular strain so it can react faster the next time. And that's similar to how the flu vaccine works. An inactive virus is injected into your system, just enough to trigger cells into action. Health officials say it's the no-brainer defense against the flu.
So if everyone in the general public gets it, then the old and the young are protected. So you're not only protecting yourself, but you're protecting everyone else.
And although not 100% perfect, it still reduces the severity of your symptoms if you do end up getting sick.
Done.
So easy.
So what about all those remedies that are often touted as a way to fight a cold or flu? Well, here are the facts. There is no evidence that vitamin C fights a virus. In fact, too much vitamin C supplements can cause stomach pains and diarrhea. Zinc has shown to reduce the length of a cold by a day, but doctors caution the high dose comes with side effects, including nausea, so it may not be worth it.
As for chicken soup, the benefits are still up for debate. But if it's comforting, then why not? In the end, the only actual cure is time.
We've just got to accept what is happening inside our body and ride it out. The best thing you can do to prevent getting sick is wash your hands as often as you can for at least 20 seconds, especially after contact with individuals or contaminated surfaces. Stay home from work when you're contagious. And finally, practice good cough and sneeze etiquette, because yes, there is a right way to do it. Thanks for watching Global News. If you enjoyed what you saw, like the video. You can also subscribe. Thanks for watching Global News. If you enjoyed what you saw, like the video. You can also subscribe to our channel for all the latest international and trending videos.